Good evening. In the news tonight, about 24 people were hospitalized this morning following an anhydrous ammonia leak near Vincennes. And there's sorrow today at the campus of Indiana University with news that 5 music students died overnight in a crash of a small plane near the campus. In sports, a freak injury has left the Chicago Cubs without slugger Derek Lee, and IU basketball coach Kelvin Sampson is expected to appear before an NCAA committee investigating recruiting infractions at Oklahoma. Newscenter 22 is next. Three people were taken to area hospitals early this morning when a 1,000-gallon anhydrous ammonia tank started leaking out Growers Co-op on Old Decker Road near Vincennes. The anhydrous cloud made workers sick at the FIA plant in the US 41 Industrial Park and forced the evacuation of homes and businesses along Old Decker Road and Elkhorn Road. Traffic was blocked along Willow Street when the anhydrous cloud moved closer to Vincennes. Co-op personnel and firefighters from the Vincennes Township Fire Department were able to stop the leak around 1 a.m. That was about 50 minutes after the Sheriff's Department received a report of a motorist who was overcome by the fumes. 23 patients were taken to hospitals in Vincennes, Lawrenceville, Princeton, and Washington. An additional 27 patients were evaluated at the scene. Knox County Sheriff Steve Luce says the anhydrous tank was tampered with. He says the lock on the tank had been turned and a gas cap was found nearby. He says that indicates someone may have filled the gas can with anhydrous, which is used in manufacturing methamphetamine. Veteran Fuels, the wholly owned coal mining operation subsidiary of Vectren Corporation, has begun the process of opening 2 new underground mines near Oaktown. The first mine is expected to be fully operational by early 2009, with the second mine to open the following year. The mines will provide an estimated 425 local jobs to contract miners. Combined production is projected at 5 million tons of coal annually, with the majority to be used at Vectren's power plant in Posey and Warwick counties. Vectren must still obtain the necessary permits to open the mines. An Indiana University spokesman says all 5 people killed in a small plane crash overnight were IU music students. Susan Williams would not release the names of the students because not all parents had been notified. She calls the crash a tragedy for the school. The wreckage of the small plane was found this morning upside down in dense woods just south of the Monroe County Airport on the outskirts of Bloomington. Indiana State Police say a female pilot and 4 male passengers were on board. Police say the single-engine Cessna took off from Lafayette about 90 miles northwest of Bloomington and disappeared from radar about 11:40 last night. The Knox County community of Bruceville is getting a helping hand from the U.S. Department of Agriculture to construct a new sanitary sewer and treatment system. USDA Rural Development is providing the town a $2.5 million grant and a $1.5 million low-interest loan to fund the project. Bruceville has already received a $500,000 community development block grant through Indiana's Office of Rural Affairs, having no municipal wastewater collection or treatment system. Most wastewater in the town of Bruceville is partially treated by on-site sewage systems, consisting of privately owned septic tanks and absorption field systems. The project was started after the town received notice in 2003 from the Indiana Department of Environmental Management that it was in violation of the sanitary discharge regulations. Toyota Motor Manufacturing Indiana will award Good Samaritan Hospital's primary care clinic a $2,000 grant to be used to help recruit, train, supervise volunteers for the clinic. The check will be presented next week. Illinois top doctor says requirements that college students get shots to prevent mumps may be protecting Illinois from an outbreak on the scale of neighboring Iowa. Illinois Department of Public Health Director Eric Whitaker says Illinois, starting in 1988, has required college students to have had vaccinations for mumps or prove they're immune because they've already had the illness. That adds to the state's herd immunity, which means vaccinated people from a barrier protecting others from the virus. The number of mumps cases in the state continues to climb. It's now 123 cases, including 66 confirmed and 57 suspected ones. Iowa has more than 900 cases. Mumps can be spread through coughing and sneezing. Symptoms include fever, headaches, and swollen salivary glands. Thanks to a partnership between Vincennes University and area elementary school students, nearly 500 green ash tree seedlings will be planted in observance for Indiana's Arbor Day, April 29th. Continuing a tradition that began in 1987, VU will provide a tree seedling to each 4th grade student in Knox County elementary schools. Planting instructions that are included with each seedling encourages students and parents to either plant the seedling at home or give it to someone who will plant it. Volunteers from the retired senior volunteer program will be packaging the seedling beginning at 9 o'clock this morning at VU's Green Activity Center. Still to come on Newscenter 22, authorities say 5 Kansas teens had been plotting to initiate the Columbine massacre since the beginning of the school year. And there's a possible breakthrough in forming a new Iraqi government. Stay with us.
Next time on Independent Lens.
I'm the defending champion again.
Can you believe that buzz you're hearing is actually about bowling?
Bowling is back.
One bowler takes home $100,000.
And only one can be champion.
It doesn't get any better than this.
A league of ordinary gentlemen on the next Independent Lens.
Five Kansas teenagers, 16 to 18 years old, are in custody while authorities determine what charges, if any, they may face in a connection with an alleged plot to shoot students and employees at their high school. The teens were scheduled to appear in court this afternoon. John Lisk reports.
Kansas Attorney General Phil Klein praised officers for arresting 5 teenagers Thursday. He says there's evidence the teens were prepared to go on a shooting spree at their high school later that day.
This is the anniversary of Columbine, or yesterday was, and unfortunately in the mass media society and all of the coverage that these things receive, some children who are looking for a way to be relevant unfortunately turn the wrong direction.
The school superintendent credited a North Carolina woman who alerted Riverton High School officials when she learned about a possible attack online. According to the Cherokee County Sheriff, deputies found weapons and ammunition in one suspect's bedroom.
It's very alarming, and I think the scariest part, this is a very safe community. If this can happen here, it could happen anywhere. We certainly never suspected that we could be a part of something like this.
Authorities say it might have been a very tragic day at the small high school in southeast Kansas.
I feel a little more nervous than I did before, obviously, but I feel like the school did an incredible job of preventing this, and I feel like that they would prevent it again.
I'm John Lisk, reporting from Atlanta.
A second dancer who was at a team party for Duke's lacrosse team says she's convinced somebody did something besides underage drinking. But Kim Roberts tells the Associated Press she can't back up the rape claim because she wasn't in the bathroom where it allegedly happened. Dent's attorney says Roberts has changed her story to gain favorable treatment in an unconnected criminal case against her. They also note she emailed a New York public relations firm asking in her letter for advice on how to spin this to her advantage. Roberts was arrested 8 days after the party on a probation violation from a 2001 conviction for embezzling. 2 lacrosse players have been indicted. A Shiite candidate for Prime Minister of Iraq is getting a tentative nod of approval from Sunni and Kurd politicians. Shiite politicians say a top ally of Prime Minister Ibrahim al-Jafari, Jawed al-Maliki, has been tapped to break a month-long deadlock and head in the new unity government. Iraqi police sources say 4 people were killed, 7 wounded, when the bomb exploded on a minibus in Baghdad. The Reuters news agency quotes the U.S. military as saying U.S. forces killed 5 suspected insurgents in a raid on a house south of the capital. Elsewhere, militants captured 6 off-duty soldiers as they left a restaurant after lunch. The gunmen lined up the soldiers on a street in northern Iraq and shot them. 5 police officers are among another 11 new deaths in Iraq. Nepal's opposition has pledged to continue protests and a general strike after the king offered to restore multi-party democracy. Earlier today, King Gyan Indra said he will return power to the people. He seized control of the country 14 months ago. His political opponents have flooded the streets with protesters for days. Oil futures increased more than $1.50 today and closed a record high above $75 a barrel due to continued nervousness about Iran's nuclear ambitions and declining gasoline supplies here at home. Meanwhile, AAA says the national average for regular gasoline stands at $2.85 a gallon. That's up more than 60 cents from a year ago. Some gas stations are running out of gas. Pumps ran dry at scattered stations around Philadelphia, New York, and Virginia yesterday. A AAA spokeswoman says she knows of 8. The problem is switch in fuel types. Federal law says refiners have to switch to fuel formulations containing corn-based ethanol. To do that, retailers must clean their tanks, remove all water, and install extremely fine filters on their pumps. Terminals have to clean storage tanks too, and that means empty tanks for a while. As oil prices remain near record levels, users are beginning to feel the pinch. Across Europe, rising fuel prices are spiraling upwards, forcing consumers and businesses alike to tighten their belts. Deanna Magne looks at how small businesses are contending with escalating costs.
Across Europe,
I'm on the road 9 hours a day, and it's absolutely ridiculous.
Consumer concern over the rising price of petrol.
Us taxi drivers and other small businesses are forced to pay these prices just to stay alive.
That's because crude oil is hitting new records practically on a daily basis.
If you look at the long-term demand supply data, it's always sort of minus 1 million to maybe 1.5 million barrels either side, either excess supply or excess demand. So it doesn't take an awful lot in terms of the political situation anywhere in the world that produces oil to make an impact.
Concern over Iran, low gas supplies in the United States, and attacks by rebels in the oil-rich Niger Delta. Pretty much anything and everything seems to send oil prices up. But now consumers are feeling the pinch. Airlines such as British Airways and United have already raised the fuel surcharge on their tickets. And prices at the pump all up sharply in the past month. About 4% in Britain, 3% in France, and in Germany as much as 6%. It may not be affecting spending just yet, but higher prices mean consumers will have to start thinking about cutting back elsewhere.
It depends on for how long prices are going to stay at these levels or keep on rising. If they stay at 70 or they start climbing towards 80, then I think you're going to see some kind of knock-on effect on the consumer sentiment.
For now, the hope is consumer spending won't suffer, but economists aren't ruling it out. Diana Magne, CNN, London.
People in 15 states are hoping to make their lawsuit over Teflon stick. They want to have their cases combined in a $5 billion class action claiming DuPont failed to disclose possible health risk from using the non-stick cookware. The lawsuits claim DuPont continued for years to say that Teflon was safe enough, though its own studies showed the material could become toxic when heated enough to fry an egg. That according to Des Moines attorney Kim Baer, who represents 6 plaintiffs from Iowa. Baer says the case will likely center on DuPont's failure to notify people of possible health risk. A DuPont lawyer says the Teflon has a 40-year history of safe use and no indication of toxicity. He lost his sight as an 11-year-old while playing around with explosive chemicals. Now a Massachusetts man is finding new freedom with the help of technology. Here's Dan Lothian.
For 10 years, Keegan, a German Shepherd, has been Brian Charleston's eyes.
Forward.
Now he has another assistant in his right ear.
Turn left 200 yards.
A global positioning system is attached to a laptop that gives people who are blind precise directions and places of interest, verbally.
You are at 582 Main Street.
Or in Braille.
And as I walk around, I want to know where I am.
You are at 563 Main Street.
and it will tell me the street address of wherever I'm standing. I would normally just count the number of streets I was crossing.
But now you don't have to count because it's telling you what street you're at.
Exactly.
289 feet to turn left.
Did you think that it would be this accurate?
Well, I didn't think it had much of a prayer, to be honest with you. Good boy. So now that I've used it a little bit, I'm more convinced than ever that this is the type of device that adds to what I'm already using, in this case a guide dog. There's one less thing I have to depend on sighted people for. So it creates a connection from this device.
Charlson, who is a computer expert at the Carroll Center for the Blind just outside Boston, says technology has changed his life, especially while on frequent out-of-town business trips away from his wife.
And I use this to navigate from walking from one hotel to the other, and I asked it to give me walking directions from the hotel to the grill. And
there is one potential hazard. Even as drivers can be distracted by a cell phone or an onboard GPS or radio, users of the system can get so caught up in the street-by-street information that they miss critical signals coming from their seeing eye dog.
I might get a branch in the face or a sign in the shoulder that he's trying to take me around.
So it can be very distracting. It's not a substitute for learning how to travel effectively and independently.
Good boy.
Advocates for the blind hope to soon offer safety classes to GPS users like Charlson, even as technology helps them find their way.
You are at 76 Copeland Street.
Dan Lothian, CNN, Watertown, Massachusetts.
Still to come on Newscenter 22, Jim Nolan has a weekend forecast.
From American experience, billions of barrels of oil, a pristine wilderness, all on the line. The biggest.
It was like a gold rush.
Boldest.
I was going to go if I lost my life.
Most controversial private enterprise in American history.
The pipeline pulled Alaska kicking and screaming into the 20th century.
Is the oil crucial or is the wilderness crucial?
The Alaska Pipeline.
We had heavy fog last night and early this morning.
Yes, we did. That caused a fog advisory this morning, causing some school delays, but now the fog has moved out, leaving behind some cloudy skies this morning, but now the sun's beginning to break through, as you can see when we take a look at the WVUT tower cam, looking out over the Red Skelton Performing Arts Center. Currently partly cloudy skies, 67 degrees outside, winds coming out of the north-northwest at 6 miles per hour, humidity at 68%, barometric pressure at 29.9 inches and falling. Looking out over the surrounding areas, we see that the surrounding area has the same kind of conditions right now. Mostly sunny skies, temperatures ranging in the high 60s, Washington, Linton, and Carlisle, all about the same, and including that is Bridgeport, Illinois, with 67 degrees. As you look across the national temperatures, we see that most of the United States has some very mild temperatures, 60s into the mid-50s. Our hotspot for today is in the southern tip of Florida in Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and Fort Myers at 86 degrees. And our cold temperature for today is in Duluth, Minnesota at 46 degrees. As we take a look across into our frontal map, we see we have this cold front that's coming in from the Pacific Ocean, bringing along with this some slightly colder temperatures for the northern west coast, and we have these patchy areas of rain. As we take a look at Oregon, they have some more rain there with a large patch of fog. As you see in the central states, they're covered by this high pressure system, giving them clearer skies, and in combination with those mild temperatures, they have some very comfortable days right there right now. As we look into the Midwest right now, we have these large area of rain, which is what we received yesterday, and it's being slowly pushed out by the stationary front. Now, don't let the name fool you. A stationary front does actually move, it's just that it's very slow. So what's going to happen is these patches of rain right here are going to stick in Indiana, giving us a 20% chance for rain tonight, moving on into tomorrow morning. And then what's going to happen is we're going to have some sunny skies, and then this cell right here with this low pressure system is going to begin to move into Indiana by the beginning of early next week, and that leads into our extended forecast. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a low of 48, a 20% chance for rain. Tomorrow, 20% chance for rain again with a high of 72. Tomorrow night, that 20% chance continues with a low of 47. And moving on into our extended forecast, Saturday, sunny skies with a high of 76 and a low of 56. Sunday, partly cloudy skies with a high of 77 and a low of 53. And on Monday, partly cloudy skies, a high of 75 and a low of 57. And Emma, that's your forecast.
Thanks, Jim. Still to come on Newscenter 22, the Chicago Cubs head into a weekend series against the Cardinals without their top player. Michael Nice will have the details coming up in sports.
Expect a masterpiece.
I have appointed Miss Fancy Day as our new schoolmistress.
A sleepy village is shaken up by a new arrival.
Who will she marry then?
There are men of means living in a place like this.
I've come here to ask for your hand in marriage. We will marry within a month. From the novel by Thomas Hardy.
She's destined for greater things than you, my son.
Under the Greenwood Tree on Masterpiece Theater.
Cubs slugger hurting. Good evening, everyone. For TV 22 Sports, I'm Michael Nice. Chicago Cubs first baseman Derek Lee is expected to be in a cast up to 6 weeks after breaking 2 bones in his right wrist. Lee was injured in a first base collision with Los Angeles Dodgers shortstop Rafael Furcal Wednesday night. Lee is batting .318 with 3 homers and 10 RBIs this season. The St. Louis Cardinals got swept 2 weeks ago at Wrigley Field. Now the Chicago Cubs are on their turf. The Cards and Cubs open a 3-game set at the new Busch Stadium tonight. Mark Mulder will be on the mound for St. Louis as the Cardinals start a season-high 10-game homestand. Jerome Williams will get the start for the Cubs. At the ballparks yesterday, baseball's oldest current major leaguer helped the New York Mets avoid their 3rd straight loss. Julio Franco slammed a pinch-hit 2-run homer to spark a 6-run 8th that pushed the New York Mets past San Diego 7-2. The 47-year-old Franco became the oldest player in Major League history to hit a home run. Carlos Delgado also hit a 2-run shot, and Kaz Matsui laced an inside-the-park homer in his first at-bat of the season. Frank Robinson picked up his 1,000th win as a Major League manager when Washington crushed Philadelphia 10-4. Nick Johnson went 4 for 4 with 2 homers and 3 RBIs as the Nationals won for the 4th time in 5 games. Billy Traber pitched the Nats to their 4th victory in 5 games, allowing 3 earned runs and only 2 hits in 5 2/3. In the American yesterday, Javi Lopez, Jeff Conine, and Miguel Tejada drove in 2 runs apiece while the Orioles were scoring 6 times in the 6th to beat Cleveland 9-4. Lopez ignited the rally with a 2-run homer that gave the Birds a 5-4 lead. Tejada also homered to support Eric Beddard, who is 4-0 after allowing 3 earned runs over 6 innings. There are no day games on the agenda in Major League Baseball today. That said, it's a full schedule tonight. One of the better early season matchups tonight has Minnesota playing at Chicago against the White Sox. It's expected that both clubs will be involved in the battle for the American League Central this year, and tonight's pitching matchup is a good one. Mark Burley will toe the rubber for the world champion Sox against Johan Santana. The 96-year-old mother of Miami Heat coach Pat Riley has passed away. Riley left the team but says he'll be back on the sidelines tomorrow when the Heat face Chicago in the opening round of the playoffs. Riley also confirmed to reporters that he'll return next season as the Heat's coach. The New York Knicks won't be making a coaching change. Heat head coach Larry Brown and team president Isaiah Thomas said yesterday that Brown will be back for his 2nd season with the Knicks. Brown missed 3 straight games because of a stomach ailment before returning for Wednesday night's season-ending win at New Jersey. The Knicks lost 59 games this season, tying a team record. The NBA playoffs get going tomorrow with 4 games. The opening contests feature Washington playing at Cleveland, San Antonio playing host to Sacramento, Miami hosting Chicago, and Denver in LA against the Clippers. The Indiana Pacers tip off the first round of their NBA playoff series at New Jersey on Sunday. While the Pacers have been struggling lately, the Nets are taking the challenge seriously. Nets coach Lawrence Frank says Indiana finally has its team together even without Reggie Miller and Ron Artest. Indiana won the season series with the Nets 2-1, playing 2 of the 3 games without Jermaine O'Neal. Indiana basketball coach Kelvin Sampson is expected to attend an NCAA hearing in Utah today on recruiting infractions from his time at Oklahoma. Oklahoma says it won't dispute the NCAA's allegations that Sampson and 3 assistants made more than 550 impermissible telephone contacts with at least 17 recruits between April 2000 and September 2004. Two of the nation's top high school players have decided not to play for Purdue and new women's basketball coach Sharon Versup. Miss Basketball Amber Harris of Indianapolis North Central and East Chicago's Dee Dee Jernigan both signed with the Boilermakers in November, but changed their minds after Christy Curry left Purdue to coach at Texas Tech. Early morning rain delayed the start of play in the second round of the PGA Shell Houston Open. The current leader of the course is Matthias Grönberg, who stands 2 under the day after 10 holes of play. For the tournament, he is 6 under. First-round leader Stuart Appleby finished play yesterday at 6 under. Kyle Busch will start from the pole for Saturday's Subway Fresh 500 at Phoenix International Raceway. Busch won yesterday's qualifying with a top lap of 133.744 miles per hour, edging Greg Biffle. Busch won in Phoenix last November. Tony Stewart and Matt Kenseth earned spots in the second row. If you're attending this weekend's Little 500 at Indiana University and you think you might run afoul of the police, bring plenty of cash. The Monroe County prosecutor says he'll allow people arrested for minor offenses to escape prosecution by paying a $421 fee. No credit cards accepted. And Emma, it'll be a busy weekend in sports.
Thanks, Michael. Still to come on Newscenter 22, Anna Hovind previews what's new at the movies this weekend.
Tune in to WVUT this Friday night. Watch Washington Week in Review at 7 and Now at 7:30. At 8, Cars That Think on Scientific American Frontier spotlights cars that watch out for hazards, listen to you, read your lips, and even know when you're distracted. Stay tuned at 8:30 for Taffy Smiley. Then at 9, it's Monty Python's Flying Circus. Friday night on WVUT.
American Idol fans, a movie made just for you hits a big screen this weekend. Also in theaters, a plot to assassinate the president. Anna Hovind has a preview and now showing.
There's a traitor in the Secret Service.
There's an agent who wants to help assassinate the president. We need to find this guy.
Kiefer Sutherland plays an agent who heads up the investigation. The man who was his mentor, played by Michael Douglas, becomes the suspect.
I don't believe it. You're being investigated for treason. Excuse me?
The Sentinel is rated PG-13. The sign says, "Welcome to Silent Hill," but it's not a welcoming place.
Christopher, Sharon's gone. I need your help. I'm not okay. Please, hurry.
In West Virginia, a town that was once normal has been changed by evil. Now it's a place of secrets and mysteries and fear.
To find your daughter, you must face the darkness of hell.
Silent Hill is rated R.
Welcome back, America.
Only on the biggest show on TV will you find the next big star. And the President of the United States is a guest judge.
We're going on a publicity blitz to show the world that you're still going strong, still have the common touch.
American Dreams is rated PG-13. For Now Showing, I'm Anna Hovind.
And that's all for this evening. From Michael Nice and Jim Nolan, I'm Emma Hall. Have a good weekend.
is WVUT Vincennes, a service of Vincennes University Broadcasting.